Boom.
Japan is being forced to censor manga and anime?
And video games, by the way. They censored Dragon Quest!
Time for the latest news out of Japan. If you were to ask a dedicated fan of anime and manga, what is a word worse than death? They'd give you a quick and simple answer. Censorship. Adult content is a huge part of Japanese entertainment culture, especially when it comes down to drawn or animated media like anime and manga. Whether it comes in the form of extreme violence, mild and comedic displays of nudity, or full-blown R-rated scenery, adult content is something that's naturally ingrained.
And it's in their culture. This is what I can't really stand, is that people think that every country is the same. It's really not. We are all different. You shouldn't... If you want to censor something, like, there are album covers in Saudi Arabia that are censored, but they didn't tell the origin album cover to censor, like, their work. If you want to censor it, that's on you. It sucks. I don't think you should do that, but, you know, that's what it is. There's a Britney Spears album that was released with her, like, not in a bikini, but, like, in a short top. And in Saudi Arabia, they photoshopped a burqa on her or something. I can't really remember. This was, like, years and years ago, like 20 years ago. When they reprinted it, it's like her in a burqa or in, like, a dress or something. Oh, actually, it was a dress, not a full-on burqa. But you get the idea, though.
Into Japanese media. But unfortunately, not every country which anime and manga are distributed to supports these spicy editions. And as such, there have been several cases where anime and manga have been censored to suit the ideologies of several countries. For example, the Mitsuri Bat scene in Demon Slayer, where her her bare back and chests were shown, was censored in the Chinese version, as she was seen wearing a towel in that scene. Fans didn't pay much mind to it, and instead found some of these cases
putting on pants! Oh my god! I remember seeing this actually in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, they have a rather large Muslim population, so they put pants on the Titans. Even though anatomically speaking, they don't have junk. They don't have boobs, they don't have, like, anything. It's just like they put pants on them. It's really funny.
Such as when the Malaysian version of Attack on Titan had the Titans, which were normally bare-skinned, wearing tight pants. Little did they know that things would eventually blow up in an aggravating way. During the final days of October, the United Nations pitched the idea of censoring or even banning anime and manga based on the idea.
This is not okay, man. Like, the origin product being banned? Dude, United Nations, what are you fucking doing? Guys, there's world hunger out there and we're censoring anime. Are we serious?
That these forms of media were promoting gender stereotypes and violence towards women and children.
Bro, if you beat women because you saw a cartoon, I don't know, man. I don't think censoring manga is the solution. I think there's something wrong with the person that did that, you know? Like,
many fans voiced their discomfort with that development, claiming it was wrong on so many different levels. But things still took a turn for the worse, because recently it was discovered that Western credit card companies such as Visa and MasterCard are now dissociating themselves from anime and manga sites in an attempt to force them to censor their content.
What? Patreon does... Wait, there's like... So I think it was like 8 months ago, Visa and MasterCard banned people using credit cards or cards in general from using it on Patreon, even though Patreon has a lot of content that is not exclusively not safe for work. They completely, like, censored it and they wouldn't let you use your card on it. Yeah, and like PayPal, I'm pretty sure as well. Paxiv also had to suffer from that too. That's so bad.
Ken Akamatsu, the creator of Love Hina, was unfortunately a victim of this, as his manga site Manga Z was forced to shut down due to these credit card companies pulling away. In his official statement on
And everybody uses like cards like that and PayPal.
Twitter, he said, "The website Manga Library Z, formerly known as J-Komi, which I founded 14 years ago, had decided to cease operations on November 26th. Although I have already stepped down from management, I'm writing this announcement on behalf of the team." About Manga Library Z. Manga Library Z is an ad-supported platform that provides out-of-print manga as free digital content, generating ad revenue to compensate creators. Server and operational costs were mainly covered by fees from premium members. Reasons for the shutdown.
It's so bad too because like MasterCard and Visa, they own like everything. You can't get a credit card. Like there's very few companies out there. It's like a pretty big monopoly. Or duopoly or whatever. It's like what, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, and then there's a couple of like European world banks. Discover, yeah, there's only so many cards out there.
The immediate cause of the suspension is that our payment processor has notified us that they are terminating all payment services beyond credit card payments, which includes other methods. Suddenly, all credit card providers, including JCB, became unusable, and other payment options, except for BidCash, were also rendered non-functional. On top of that, even payments for past months were withheld, so we were unable to cover server costs due to the lack of incoming.
So they got back charged and they got fucked that way. That's
premium member fees. After careful consideration, the Manga Library Z team determined that running the site solely on BitCash revenue was unsustainable. Even if a new payment processor was found, similar issues could arise again, and selectively removing content to stay operational was undesirable. Thus,
and foreign customers probably were buying a lot of their work too. Like that's so unfair because as manga and anime has gone so popular that you really do have to rely on like foreign sources as well. You can't have just domestic income.
We reached the decision to suspend the site. We apologize for the suddenness of the situation and for yielding to the control of the payment provider, which left us with little time to respond. However, through this experience, we have gained insights on the grounds for declaring payment service suspensions, the severity and duration of associated penalties, and potential countermeasures. In the past, for example, Love Hina was banned and later reinstated in Apple's ebook app, a situation that became a valuable case in protecting freedom of expression. We continue to refer to these kinds.
Just because the West thinks your ideas are bad and they're just banning you. Like, this isn't even like extremist content. This is so fucking... Ugh, it's so icky.
Of special cases in discussions about protecting free expression. Recently, stricter conditions and penalties have emerged from payment service providers, posing a growing threat to not only ebooks but to the Japanese content industry as a whole. We intend to develop more accurate countermeasures as a platform that has been directly affected. We appreciate your support in this endeavor. So, there's a lot to unpack in this message, but the main point is that his manga site is being forced to shut down based on their inability to make money. And the cause of that is, of course, the fact that the Western credit card companies they were aligned with chose to step away from them. This is a very terrible situation, and anime fans are absolutely furious about this incident. A fan said, "Bad take from US-based card companies."
But the US-based card companies like own so much. That's the problem. You try to root out the problem of, oh, US-based companies bad. Fucking Visa and MasterCard like own everything, man. Oh my god, man, it's so bad. What alternatives do you have? Like a handful, maybe? Less than that.
Trying to force an entire country to censor a major part of their cultural identity will just...
Very inclusive, by the way. Very inclusive of the West.
...force Japan to seek a possible home-sourced card company, which will lead to other non-Japanese sites to utilize them as well to avoid censorship. What's worse is that the censorship they're trying to influence into effect isn't the normal one we're familiar with, where only...
I'm just going to watch the Japanese uncensored version. I don't give a fuck. How much do you want to bet Visa still works on Pornhub? I know, it's selective, like, censoring. It's bullying. It's literally bullying. You can't? Yes, you fucking can. Why watch the Japanese uncensored version. I don't give a fuck. You fuck with my Demon Slayer boobies, you're done. Is selective based? Yes. Why is it okay for them to ban Patreon from using Patreon using PayPal and MasterCard and Visa, for example, but it's okay for Pornhub and all those other sites to use those credit cards? Isn't that like fucking like stupid? Like even with OnlyFans, like either it's all okay or none of it is, man. If they straight up banned all porn, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of fucked up, but I mean, at least there's standards. Like everyone's getting ham-fisted, but this is absolutely selective.
The versions of anime and manga for specific countries are altered. What these people want is for these products to be censored right at the source, meaning even the original versions of anime.
That's what I'm saying too. Like, okay, you censoring in your own country, in your own laws, okay, cool. But at least there's the original source material that is untouched. Like, I don't agree with censorship at all, period. I think that you should be able to look at it at your own discretion, within your own, like, you know, home, at your own discretion. But doing it at the source, it's like, Dragon Quest had to censor a bunch of stuff, like, from the actual original game when they were remaking it.
Anime and manga being distributed in Japan would be heavily censored. This is a huge slap in the face, not only to the whole freedom of expression privilege for creators, but also Japanese culture in general. These card companies have done this before with platforms like Pixiv and DL sites, removing themselves from those sites until certain content which they deem is inappropriate is removed. Some fans are even trying to make light of the situation by claiming that the world is now similar to Shimoneta, an anime world where all forms of adult things were banned. Credit card companies actually—
You can't ever truly ban it either. People will find workarounds, so what are you really doing? That's what I'm saying. It's like it all comes back to bad parenting. Like you have no self-control, so like you're gonna have the government or like the companies dictate how people should function. It's so like you're little children. You can't look at anime, you know, boobies.
Hold a lot of power because they monopolize the use of online and card-based transactions. So basically, if you wish to make a payment to any sites, including anime and manga sites, it most often has to go through them, which is why a situation like this, where they pull away from a company, would mean that the company has no way of making any money. And thus, the company is forced to shut down.
And a credit card company is dictating morals. Do you realize how fucking stupid that sounds? Well, I was listening to No Children Owns Credit Card. You're misunderstanding my analogy. We were talking about social media banning. Teenagers and children are not allowed to go on social media in Australia because the government banned it. I'm making an analogy that they're kind of dictating like morality based on like arbitrary beliefs that they think are bad. Whereas you should be able to teach your kids, and in this case, you should be able to view things as an adult at your own like volition, at your own discretion. Like they're trying to dictate how you should live. Like, is that really how it should be? No. You're an adult. I guess it's a bad analogy because it's like kids and adults and parenting, like the government. But like my original point is you shouldn't be able to do that.
All based on an unfair imposition of Western ideologies on Japanese media. Some fans are going as far as saying that Japan should stop distributing anime and manga to the West entirely, since they're
over my dead body,
the ones always pushing for censorship.
No.
Japan needs to give a big middle finger to the West and completely disconnect from it.
I don't think Japan can afford that. It's a big export. That's why they're in a really bad position because there's a really big interest in export in Japan for exporting, you know, anime and that kind of culture. I just don't think it would work very well. Yeah, the West is too big of a market. If this happened like 20, 30 years ago, I think they would be like, okay, well, I guess go fuck yourself. Do it and build your own anime stream from Japan. But then how would you access it if you want to pay them money? That's the problem. The Western credit card companies are banning it for Western consumers.
These were the words of a fan who was rightfully annoyed by the situation. Some are calling out influential figures like Elon Musk to do something about the situation.
He can't do anything about it. What the fuck is he gonna do?
Given the fact that he openly admitted to being a huge fan of anime and gaming. Fans?
Visa and MasterCard are Trump Elon. Like, what? Buy Visa. Okay. How much is Visa worth? What? $611 billion? It's almost $1 trillion? Holy. How much is MasterCard worth? They both are worth $1 trillion combined. Yeah, like, no, you can't do that. That's a bit much, huh?
I think that Musk will eventually start his own card companies and payment platforms that would eventually crush the ones currently monopolizing the business. Some others feel that crypto should become the premier means of payments, putting the current card companies out of business. And they believe the outcome of the recently concluded US elections could make that dream a reality. Interesting.
What?
Apparently, Brazil used a system called Pix that bypasses cards and bank limitations. If more countries
that's actually really smart.
Copied this method, those payment processing holders would have zero power across the globe and would be forced to compete with.
I'm sure they would try and ban it if it became popular. If it became popular, I think they would try and ban it.
Quality of service instead. Well, these proposed solutions do seem appealing, but it would take a lot of different things to come into place for them to actually work out. Taking notice of this, fans have decided to focus on looking for ways to fight back and punish the card companies directly. Many have
start pirating. I mean, again, but that hurts the Japanese anime industry too. I don't know what the workaround would be.
Have suggested starting a war with America.
What? Wait, we went from frick and use different payments to dropping nukes on America? I mean, as an American, go to war over anime? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's justified just a little bit.
Suggested starting
nuke me, please. Go ahead.
A war with America, or even orchestrating a cyber attack against these card companies. This is why I want the entire Western entertainment industry gone, wiped clean from the world. Were the words of a fan who needs to be.
I think this is also very extremist, because if we didn't have how shit Hollywood is, I wouldn't be able to make a comparison with how good most Japanese entertainment media is. Does that make sense? Like, you can't have yin without the yang. If that, like, it wouldn't be a thing, you know?
Convinced that the Western entertainment industry is no sandcastle that could easily be kicked down. This is maybe a little extreme. Many believe that the best course of action would be to avoid buying from them entirely, and so many fans have resolved to only using pirate sites for consuming anime.
But pirating content hurts the anime industry, though. That's the problem. Yeah, I get what they're saying, but it's not a solution either.
I mean, manga, instead of paying through these companies. Depending on how things play out, this incident could cause a ripple that would affect Japanese culture and how anime is created. For now, we can only hope things go in favor of Japan and the rest of the anime manga fandom. In other news, Vinland Saga is ending soon?
Oh my god, that is so cringe. I'm so glad I didn't finish. I stopped watching Vinland Saga after season 1. that anime manga. I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm not even gonna get into it. What does that mean? I just need to pay with cash and not use our credit cards and debit cards? Oh, my innocent young child. How are you going to give your cash to the Japanese company when you don't live in Japan. I mean, that was really cute, Chad. Don't shit on him. Like, that was really... Yeah, just leave him the cash.